Hey there, welcome back to our Rev Games Academy. In our previous tutorial, we learned about creating loading screens and progress bars. In today's tutorial, we'll be building an inventory system UI from scratch. Whether you're a beginner or looking to improve your UI design skills, I'll guide you through each step of the process to create a clean and functional inventory system. So without further ado, let's dive right in. First, let's set up the base of our UI. In Unity, all UI elements need to be inside a canvas. To create one, right-click in the hierarchy window, go to UI, and select Canvas. This will act as the container for all of your UI elements. In the inspector window, make sure the render mode is set to Screen Space Camera, and assign the main camera to the Render Camera reference field. Next, adjust the canvas scalar properties such as reference resolution and match width or height to ensure proper scaling across different screen sizes. Next, let's add a panel to represent the inventory background. Right-click on the canvas in the hierarchy window, go to UI and choose Panel. Rename this panel to Inventory Panel. You can stretch it to cover part of the screen or resize it to your desired size. Now, let's talk about scroll view before we add it. A scroll view in Unity is a container that allows you to display content that might be too large to fit within the visible area. It comes with built-in scrolling functionality, which means when the content inside it exceeds the available space, it will let users scroll to see more. This makes it perfect for displaying inventory items that can grow as the player collects more items. Now let's add the scroll view. Right-click on the inventory panel, go to UI and choose Scroll View. Rename it to Items Scroll View. This scroll view will hold all your items. If you haven't imported your image assets yet, you can get them from the Unity Asset Store or royalty-free websites. Once the images are imported, a background color can be assigned for the panel. Now, adjust the size of the scroll view in the inspector to make sure it's the right size for your inventory list. Now we can assign a background image to the scroll view. You can assign sprites to your horizontal and vertical scroll bars or remove the scroll bars if they are not needed in your game. Next, create a title for your game by adding a Text Mesh Pro component and setting the text to Inventory. Once done, you can resize it, reposition it, and change its font properties. You can also adjust the rect transform and set its position to top center. Inside the item scroll view, you'll notice a content object. This is where all of our item buttons will be placed. You can delete the child text object since it is not required. Inside this object, create a button and assign a sprite to the source image field, such as a slot image. You can also add another image object to represent an inventory item. Once created, assign the inventory item sprite from the Assets folder to the source image field in the inspector window. You can also change the selected color property of the button component in the inspector window to red to highlight it. Similarly, you can adjust other properties of the button component as needed to fit your requirements. Next, add a grid layout group to your content object by clicking the Add Component button in the inspector and selecting Grid Layout Group. The grid layout group automatically arranges UI elements in a grid format, ensuring consistent spacing and alignment. You can adjust the cell size, spacing, and other properties in the grid layout group component to fit your design requirements. This helps in organizing inventory slots, buttons, or other UI elements efficiently. Now, let's talk about the content size fitter. This is a really handy component in Unity that automatically adjusts the size of an object based on its children. In our case, we want the content object inside the scroll view to automatically resize as we add more items to the inventory. Since we have set the constraint property to fixed column count and the constraint count to 3, the content object expands to fit 3 columns and multiple rows. Make sure to fine-tune the cell spacing as needed and adjust the child alignment in the grid layout group to fit your requirements. After we have added the buttons, we can adjust the properties in the grid layout group, such as the cell size and spacing. We can also adjust the size of the scroll view and modify the rect transform position to fit our requirements. Once done, we can assign sprites to each button's child object, representing the inventory items. You can drag and drop the sprites into the source image field within the image component in the inspector window. Now, let's create a button with the text equip and change its font properties and background color as needed to fit requirements. The equip button allows players to select and equip an inventory item. You can set its position to the bottom center by adjusting the rect transform and set its size by modifying its width and height as needed. Once done, we can create a back button for our screen, change its properties, and assign a sprite to it. You can position the back button in the top right corner to ensure proper placement. Finally, adjust the position of the UI elements and resize them as needed to fit the requirements. You can adjust properties such as font color, width, height, and more to customize the UI as needed. You can change the scroll rect movement type from elastic to clamp to ensure smoother and more controlled scrolling. Now, test the entire setup by clicking the play button to ensure everything works as expected. You can see that the scrolling and button clicks work perfectly. And that wraps up our tutorial on building an inventory UI in Unity. I hope this helped you understand the process. In our next tutorial, we will be creating settings menu. If you found this guide useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Unity tutorials. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.